Hi there, you're watching Gardens and Graveyards. My name is Charisma, and today we are in, not the garden, but close. We're in the studio. It's fall and it's been raining all day, and I thought this would be a perfect time to do this project. I apologize if the vocals are like super echoey. I thought that I was prepared to record in the studio, but my microphone is dead. So we're just going regular audio, and yeah, sorry. I'll get better at this. Today I'm gonna make seed bombs or seed balls, depending on your preference of terminology. They're the same thing. Basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna use potting soil, some clay, and some water, and then seeds to make little balls like this, and let them dry, and then we can put them out in the garden either in the fall or in the spring. They will hold for 4 to 6 months depending on where you keep them. So you want to keep them in a dry, dark, cool space. And so some of these I will be doing for spring planting, and it'll just make spring planting that much easier because they'll already be ready to go. And then some of these I'll be doing for fall planting, because my understanding is that some seeds will really benefit from fall planting. If you think of the natural cycle of flowers, if you have a flower that blooms and it seeds and then it drops its seed right there, and then it comes back up the next year, it's self-seeding itself. It's going through the entire winter with all the rain and the cold and, you know, the soil expansion and all of that, and then it comes back in the spring for us, and usually will bloom even earlier, and the plant will typically be even stronger. So my hope is that if I plant some of these things out in the fall, they will have a chance to germinate out in the landscape and grow in better ways. The reason I'm doing seed balls opposed to just putting them out in the landscape, 2, 3-ish reasons. The first reason is this. Most of these are going to go out on a bank that I totally ignore. It has no water, it has no fertilization. I rarely even walk over there, but I want to start creating a more beautiful bank to look at, opposed to just blackberry and Gualtheria that's living there now. So my hope is that I can eradicate some of the nasty stuff and promote some more beautiful things. So that's one. 2 is we have a lot of rain. So the clay is going to protect those seeds a little bit for a little while, and then it'll slowly break apart and allow the seed to germinate. Whereas if I put a little seed that only wants to be surface sown or put in a 1/4 inch of soil today, and for the next 6 months it gets pounded by rain, I'm probably going to wash those seeds down a little ways. They're going to be somewhere else, not where I planted them, or they may just be completely rotted out. So my hope is in some cases the seed balls will actually protect my seeds for a little while. The third reason that I'm doing seed balls, and that's really for my spring planting, is this. I keep planting sunflowers and we keep feeding birds. And the sunflowers that I want to plant and grow into beautiful flowers just become bird food. So, and I've tried different variations of protecting in different times and different places, all these things. I'm hoping that by having them in a seed ball and protected, the birds aren't going to know what's inside that seed ball, and they're not going to pick it apart and get to the seed. We'll see if that works. So that's what I'm going to do. There's 2 plants actually that I have trouble with getting to germinate in my garden, and that is the California poppy and the sunflower, which are both weeds typically in most landscapes. And so I don't know, maybe they're not supposed to be on my property, but I'm going to give this one more shot and do it this way and see if that works for us in the spring. I'm going to actually plant the California poppies this coming week and in the spring and see if I have a better germination rate by planting them in the fall. So, other than a few specific flowers, such as the sunflowers and the zinnias, and the California poppies, all of those I'm going to plant by themselves. Like, that's the only seed that's going to go in the seed ball. All the rest of them, I'm going to kind of just mix up the seeds and create my own seed mixture. So I have yellow lupine, pink lupine, a variegated purple and white lupine, dark purple sweet peas, a pink breadseed poppy, buttercream nasturtiums, well, that's the same thing, lovage, bronze fennel, a dark purple breadseed poppy, nigella, and Celine. Of course, I have the California poppies. This one is the milkweed. Okay, borage, chicory, a Monarch Butterfly garden mix, a bachelor button mix, African daisies, and a cut flower mix, as well as forget-me-nots. All of those seeds I'm going to kind of mix together and create a mixed seed ball. I do have them separated out in regards to some plants some seeds want to be surface sown, and some seeds want to be sown 1/4 inch, and some want to be 1/2 inch. So my plan is for the 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch, they're just going to go in a seed ball, a 1-inch seed ball, and good luck. The surface sown ones, I'm going to create a seed ball, and while it's still wet, I'm going to roll the seed ball around on the seeds so that they're just on the surface, and let the seeds dry on the top of the ball. So that's my plan there. Yeah, so let's just make these, and I probably won't show you every single one, but I'm gonna go through the process with you so you have an idea. So, first thing we're gonna do is, I just have an empty bowl here, and I'm gonna put, basically it's 3 parts compost or potting soil to 1 part clay. So I'm using potting soil today, and I'm actually using cat litter, which is just straight clay. No additives or anything like that. It's just generic kitty litter, because it's just clay, and it's way cheaper than using like, a clay that you would use for making pottery, or, obviously any like beauty clays, that'd be really expensive, or internal clays that you might ingest. You don't need to spend money on this. It just needs to make the binding good. So I'm doing about this much clay, and then I'll do this much potting soil. And then I need water. So you just want enough water to make it sticky. So I'm gonna mix this up. and add water as needed. Basically, the clay or the cat litter starts breaking down pretty quickly once water has been added to it. So the idea is that it sticks together. I think it needs a little bit more play. Okay, my first one's, maybe the cat litter makes it a little bit crumbly, so I'm gonna let this absorb some more water and break down a little bit while I mix my seeds. All right, so first thing we've got is annual cut flowers. They look like that. And a lot of these flowers were either impulse buys, they were gifts, or just, I don't even know where they came from. Sometimes in a seed exchange, we get like a group of flowers, or like a stack of different seeds. In my garden itself, oh sorry, this is bachelor buttons. In my actual garden, I'm a little bit more picky and I want specific varieties. So I'm going to this mix will be for the bank that I want to create. This is another annual African daisy, which is really a pretty like buttery color. So I'm actually gonna just put some in there and save some for the black and white garden theme next year, which will be black, white, and red. But these will go nicely in that. And then we have a Monarch Butterfly mix from Territorial Seed. And I'm only going to put some of these seeds in this mix and save some for our actual butterfly garden. Of course, there's no way for me to know which ones are going in here and which ones I'm saving because they're a big mix. Okay, save that many. We've got chicory from Strictly Medicinal Seeds. They have a ton of great information on their packaging. And then we have some borage. This came from a friend's garden. I'll save some for my medicine garden. These are the sunflowers, zinnias, marigolds. I think these are the annual marigolds. So see, a lot of these are annuals, and since this is my first trial with this, I don't mind using annuals. Just to see if they come up and what happens. It says it's half hardy. This is a double a French double dwarf mix annual of marigolds. The fun thing about this mix is they're going to be all different heights, and so they have the potential of doing all kinds of, you know, some will grow, some won't grow. These are zinnias, Giants of California mixed color. These are also an annual. I have 2 packets of those, so 1 packet can just go in here. Many of these packets are fairy morse, which I have great success rates with them. Okay, so then these are yellow poppy, and these are a mixed poppy. So the other thing I'm looking at is a lot of these seeds are expired. So your seeds will have expiration dates, usually stamped on the bottom. And a lot of these are from 2020. So all of those, I'm just gonna put all of them in here, and they will last several years if you're treating them properly. But because they're already expired and I'm doing this experiment, those are the perfect seeds to try out. And then I have some forget-me-nots, which I do want in my garden, but they're also fun in a wild mix. So we'll put a few of those in there as well. They're sweet little blue flowers. They're so cute. All right, so then the Celine was so prolific. This is the first year I've ever grown Celine. These flowers were from Florette, and then I collected seeds from them. And I couldn't decide if I liked them or not, but it turns out I really love them. So I'll put a couple pinches of those in there. And we'll do the dark purple breadseed poppies, which we grew in the black and white garden. And we'll be growing them in the black and white garden again. As a matter of fact, a lot of the seed heads are still in the garden, and I'm just letting them fall naturally and see how they do. And then I'll probably give them a little bit of a boost and sprinkle some extras around there. The bronze fennel, which is a really fun plant to have out there. But I'm only going to put a tiny bit because I don't really want them to overshade anything that's in this seed mixture. Lovage is also a really great one. Beautiful plant. And any nasturtiums out there, but it might be kind of fun to have them like rambling around. They definitely self-seed themselves, so if I just get a few out there, they will come back year after year. Here's the pink breadseed poppies, which did really great in containers for me this year. And the sweet peas also might be kind of fun to have rambling around out there. See what they decide to grow up. If they'll grow up some rhododendrons, that would be fun. And then we have the lupins, which naturally grow along the banks of rivers. These are domestic lupins, so they're not invasive, but they are I don't know, healthy. I wouldn't even really say that they're aggressive, but they will definitely grow. Let's see, I'm missing one of them. Oh, there it is. Somehow I skipped this one, but I knew about it. The purple and white lupin. Okay. So that's kind of fun. Just mix these up. I feel like I'm dropping, I don't know. Just put it all in there. All right. Put these ones out of the way. These. Where did it go? So I picked up one of these trays at the Dollar Tree. It's just, it goes underneath your pets' drinks and food, so it doesn't get all over. I thought they would be a good little tray that I could easily pick up and move if I need to. They'll keep everything all sort of together. Let's see how this is doing. Oh, that's a little bit better. Okay. So now that I have it at the consistency that I want it to be in, I'm actually just going to put some of this in here. I think that's how I want to do it. This is about a 1/4 cup worth of seeds in there. So I'm just gonna put not that much of that in there. Mix them all up together really good, so there's plenty of seed all inside there. And then I'm just gonna start making the balls. I made a couple earlier just to make sure I knew what the heck I was doing. They're definitely not as perfectly round as I've been watching other people do. I don't think that matters. Perfect spheres in the garden. You won't see me making perfect spheres in the kitchen either. I don't have patience for that. Obviously, if this is like weird and gross for you, you could wear gloves. I kind of wonder if you were wearing gloves, if the soil wouldn't stick to your hands as badly. I don't know. This would be a super fun project to do with kids. It's like making mud pie. And it wouldn't matter how many seeds they got into each one and how, perfectly mixed everything was, because it's supposed to emulate nature. It's not supposed to be perfect. There are exact recipes out there. I encourage you to go and find one that works for you with the growing medium that you would prefer to use. You could use compost or more of a specialty clay. I tend to just sort of feel it out. Like, this feels like kind of like the consistency of Play-Doh. It might be a little bit more crumbly than that. Might be better if it was the consistency of Play-Doh. Maybe if you used a finer grit of clay, you could get those like pretty spheres maybe. opposed to just kind of like a clump. There's tons of great history on this too. This is my favorite story about them. Some group in New York City would make these. I think it was in the 70s or 60s, and they would throw them into empty lots and parks and like abandoned yards and that type of thing to create more greenery in the city, to create more spaces for birds and bees and of course people to enjoy. And there's like all these great movements, and it's like, you know, flower graffiti or something like that, where you just like throw these seed bombs out your car. I don't really suggest that unless you've done a lot of research for the area, because you could be introducing invasive species into areas. You know, if I made a whole bunch that would work really well in my garden, and then I took them to like, you know, the East Coast somewhere or something like that, I might be, you know, contributing to invasive species spread. I don't want to do that. So if you're gonna just throw them onto public lands, make sure that that's okay. See if there's maybe a group that you can participate with that has the legal rights to doing that. These are all gonna go on my own land, so I'm not worried about it. So, 1/4 cup of seeds, and it made look at this, it's gonna be 20. It made 20 seed balls. So that's pretty cool, I think. Gotta utilize the last bit of this stuff here. Since it is a mix of seed, I don't really want to include that in the next batch, which are going to be more specific. I made plenty of this soil and clay mixture to continue with the project with more specific flowers. But I kind of need to figure out how I'm going to differentiate which seeds have what in them. So I think I'm gonna wait on that. It's too crumbly. All right. Okay, so since I'm gonna wait and let these dry, this is the custom mix that I did, and I can leave that soil clay mixture off to the side. If it gets dried out, I could just add water and make it back into a malleable medium. So I'm gonna let these dry, then I can put them away, label them, and then I can do like all my sunflowers and then all my zinnias, etc. But before we go, so that's gonna take me a few days, and it's just, these take about 24 to 48 hours to dry depending on how warm your environment is. So like I said, it's gonna take me a couple of days to get through all of my seeds. But before we go, so that you see this in this video, I formed up 6 more blank balls. There's nothing in these balls. And I've got some forget-me-nots here. And they like to be surface sown or lightly raked into the soil. So what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to put them on this dish here. And then I'm going to spread them out just a little bit. And then I'm going to take a ball and I'm just going to roll it through the seeds and let it sort of collect. And then I'll kind of press it down a little bit and just, okay, those ones came off, so that's fine. And then I'll let those seeds dry into the ball so that they'll be stuck on there and they'll be dry on there. But it'll still act in the same way as if they were surface sown. So that's just a fun and easy project that you can do on a rainy day, and super easy to do with your kiddos or grand kiddos, whatever you got, nieces, nephews, neighbor kids. And come time to put these out in the garden, oh my gosh, do they have fun just throwing them wherever. Especially if you have an area where you know you could just, it doesn't even matter, you could just throw them anywhere. That's really fun. I've seen videos where people are actually using slingshots, which, I mean, I'm not going to do that, but it could be really fun if you wanted to do it that way. So that concludes this video. Thanks a lot for hanging out with me while I made seed bombs today. And I hope this inspired you and gave you some ideas of what you could do with your expired seeds, what you can, utilize an excess amount of seeds for, and create more abundance in your garden. Until the next time, keep celebrating life. Bye.